Hello. We're going to be talking about Don't Starve Together bosses, and how the bigger they are, the worse items they drop. Let's analyze the drops of the Ancient Fuel Weaver. These drops are very good to say the least. A helmet that allows you to farm and avoid nightmare creatures, as well as armor that allows you to dodge an attack. He also drops a Thurible that shepherds reanimated skeletons. Now, to get all of this awesome stuff, you have to put in a lot of effort. First is not die before or during the fight. Second is getting Shadow Atrium. Third is getting the skeleton pieces. Fourth is killing the Ancient Guardian and getting the key. Fifth is finding the Atrium. And sixth is killing the Fuel Weaver and getting your stuff. Very good boss, very good rewards. The Fuel Weaver has the same amount of health as 4 Deerclopses. This will be our unit of measurement. Keep in mind that this is my opinion. With that, enjoy and subscribe. Although Fuel Weaver was the final boss, he's not the hardest. Let's start off easy with the Crab King. The Crab King has the same amount of health as about 1.5 Fuel Weavers, or 6 Deerclopses, at a minimum. Killing him is a monumental pain in the ass. Combining his attacks and him holding your boat in place and the headache that the gems you insert provide, it's too much. And what do you get for killing this crab? He gives you bells and meat. However, you get a cool trident that's a pain in the ass to make and does nothing in the grand scheme of things. It uproots kelp, it does more damage on sea, it causes geysers. That's about it. Waste of life, waste of time, waste of cool boss model. And he's only a stepping stone in summoning one of the harder bosses. That harder boss is the Celestial Champion, and the main thing that inspired this video. This creature has the health pool of 2 Fuel Weavers, or about 8 Clopsies, combining all of its phases together. The amount of work you have to do to spawn this boss is bonkers. First you have to activate the archives in the caves, which require a moon staff and a deconstruction staff, so we're already at a good start. After that you have to go to Lunar and mine out the first lunar altar, then you have to find the altar buried in the overworld and bring it to the lunar island. Then you have to become deep emotional friends with Pearl, get her Pearl, place it in King Crab's head and kill him, pull the third altar out of the water and bring it to the moon. Then place all of them together in a triangle. Good job, you're halfway there. Now you have to dick around with Wagstaff until you build a portal on Lunar. Finally, then you can fight the boss. After all that backbreaking work, what do you get? Surely it's something amazing that was worth the soul-crushing work that was invested on the side of both developer and player. Well, in my opinion, it's underwhelming to say the least. Constant light and sanity gain when sanity is above 85%. Also, when you're hit, you get gestalts that fight for you. Also, it's infinite durability, not to mention that you can dye it whatever color you want. A bit underwhelming when, at this point in time, you probably have light sources at the wazoo. Lanterns, mining caps, fire pits, dwarf stars, I could go on. But what's most insulting about this is that if you use a deconstruction staff on this extraordinarily valuable item, you get 5 pieces of it. What can you do with these pieces? You can place them in lamps. Lamps. For infinite light in a restricted area. So what you've done now is taken one of the main benefits of the crown, that being guaranteed light wherever you go, and pinning it to a restricted area. Let's move on to that lamp. Toadstool has the health pool of 3 Fuel Weavers, or 12 deer. Toadstool is hard to say the least, but he isn't the hardest. His drops are very bad for the amount of effort you have to put into the fight, but they aren't the worst. He drops one of 3 Fun Cap blueprints, caps that rot the stuff in your inventory faster and produce mushroom spores. Oh, and they have some summer heat resistance. But you're forgetting one very important thing. He drops another blueprint. A blueprint for one of 2 mushroom lamps that provide a circle of light in a limited area, like a fireplace. And they have to be fueled, like a fireplace. Although they do provide light for a longer period of time, and the glow cap has an RGB aspect to it. But the same concept. Put in bulbs, spores, or festive lights in it, get illumination. But by this point, I guess you aren't hurting for fueling your fireplace. You took down Toadstool, didn't you? But this isn't the biggest insult Toadstool has given us. Let's move on to... This guy has the same amount of health as 2 Toadstools, or 6 Weavers, or 24 Clopses. Wow. Now, to fight him, you have to find a canary. Put it in the caves, let it cure or whatever, and then place it down next to Toadstool's cap. and it will turn into... The biggest obstacle is beating him in the first place, but if you manage to do it, you'll get a guaranteed glow cap, 2 blueprints for fun caps instead of the normal one, and this cool blueprint for the knapsack. I wonder what it does. It needs one of the 2 shroom scales, Misery, dropped, and the Canary. This must be good, right? This is the hardest boss health-wise in the game. Let's see what it does. The only reason you should be making the knapsack is for duping mushroom scales for lamps. Otherwise, it is a proverbial kick in the nuts. It has a limited area of sleep gas that lasts for what feels like a few seconds. Now, you must be thinking,
so what? Sleep is good for taking a breather and or getting away if you get overwhelmed.
Yes, I agree, but there are much better options for that. Sleep darts are good for single target mobs, and there's this thing that exists that spawns from day one and has more uses than a knapsack and sleep darts combined. It's the pan flute. It's renewable too. You just have to use a deconstruction staff on it. Even better, you don't have to aim with your mouse. Just press it in your inventory and it makes mobs sleep across the whole screen and not just a limited area. That's about it. Do your daily gritty and subscribe.